Hello and welcome to another edition of the DX Engineering video series. We're really excited today to have Ray Novak, N9JA, who has stopped by here at DX Engineering. Welcome, Ray.
Thank you very much. Greetings, everybody. Glad to be here, and what a beautiful facility.
Well, we're very proud of the facility, and we're very excited to have Ray visit us. Ray, when did you get started in amateur radio?
Actually, 1988, right out of college, technical school on electronics, and started with MFJ.
You started with MFJ, but what was your first call sign?
KB5KCL.
KCL. And did you take your test at a group seating of a VE test session, or was it one-on-one, or how did that?
It was in a group session. It was after being at MFJ a couple months and playing with the cool electronic stuff. Everybody kept talking about going to shows, and in their repair facility, it was a small room, and I grew up on a farm, and the last thing I wanted to do was being cooped up. So to go to the shows, you had to get a call sign. So I had not gotten bitten by the bug at that point.
Okay.
It was more of an advancement of my career.
Okay. So tell us about the first time you actually got on the radio and made a QSO with your new license.
Oh man, that wasn't a pleasant scene. I keyed up on one of the local repeaters, identified KB5KCL, and the first response was, KB5KCL, you're not part of our repeater group.
Oh.
So that reaction has kind of put me on the crusade of overcoming that. Looking at the airwaves, get on there, get on a local repeater, get active in the community, and make things happen. It was that bitter moment. I mean, people could either give up and get away from it, or just wonder why it's like that.
So where did that go after that initial sort of clouded welcome that you got on the repeater?
Well, the first trade show that I went to was Dayton Hamvention, in a suit and tie for MFJ, standing there talking about their TNCs. And to me, I was a geek, the technology. I had not really been exposed to ham radio, but then the people. I mean, the people were phenomenal. The questions, the way that it intrigued them, and there was a common element there. So after I was bitten by going to that show and meeting all the great people, I started going to all the trade shows for MFJ. Decided to get a radio in the truck as we were traveling, put on 146.520, and just started talking to people. And that experience is what pulled me in and to understand what a wonderful hobby this is.
So you were actually on the air as you were traveling for work. Yes. On 5.2 Simplex. And did you get to meet anybody that you talked to on the radio, and then at the Hamfest, they would come up to you and say, "Hey, Ray, thanks for the QSO on 5.2."
Not really so much there. It was more as we're traveling. There were other vendors that were traveling as well, and we would talk to them on the radios. It wasn't until I got on HF.
And tell us what that was like. What was the first HF experience for N9JA?
I mean, in today's texting world, it's going to be a capital O, capital M, capital G. I mean, it was a complete new world. Throwing a CQ out there and hearing people from all over the world. I mean, it was cool. I got to go to Friedrichshafen for MFJ, and it was real cool that a ham walks up to me and says, "I talked to you on HF." I'm sitting here at this show with a translator looking at all these people from another country that share the same passion, and then the guy walks up, "I talked to you on the radio."
Yeah.
That was cool.
That is cool. Now, speaking of DX, you actually went to Africa and were part of a DXpedition.
Yeah, the C-82 Delta X-Ray DXpedition was actually my second major DXpedition. The first one was with W0GJ to Bhutan. I mean, that was a life-changing experience. Just to go there, meet all those people. There again, the passion for the hobby. I mean, you got some that look up there and see the antennas and go, wow, that's strange, but then you have those that oh, tell me more, show me how to do this. And then the first time they make a major DX contact, their eyes just light up. I mean, that's a reason to go and propagate information about it. Whether somebody gets their license or not, to me, that's not a big deal, but just to see that it's a great hobby is what I like the best.
Now, you've been involved, you talk about the beginnings, you've been involved with Carol Perry and her youth project at Dayton as part of the Radio Club of America. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've been a firm believer in education about the hobby. I mean, most people are afraid of seeing a tower go up because of the lack of education, lack of understanding. And if we get with today's youth, and it was a t-shirt that clicked in my mind, it said, be kind to your children because they'll choose your nursing home. Well, if you look at it in our world, be kind to the children because they'll grow up and write CC&Rs. Right. So if the youth understand the hobby is fun, that we're not there messing up the electronics, we're not radiating people, we're not the next cause for cancer, that we're actually just a group of people that are having fun on probably the original social media, that when they go to put that pen down and say no antennas, they'll go, with the exception of the cool guys with the big towers and big beams. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's my goal, is educate as many people as possible.
So we happen to be doing this interview just before Field Day, and you've been active with many Field Day groups.
Yes.
What is your most memorable Field Day experience?
Probably with the Woodbridge Wireless group. It was my first competitive group. It got my feet wet in the contesting. As we were talking last night, there are times in a pileup for Field Day when I'll throw out that Whiskey for India Yankee call sign instead of whatever one that I've done before. That's probably my most memorable because that got me to understand contesting. Before it was just, I don't understand, but I got a clue on that one. But so far my favorite one, except for I don't know what to expect with K3LR, was Whiskey 3,
Atlantic Ocean.
I get tangled up on the phonetics because I want to do Alpha Oscar, but I got in such the rut of Atlantic Ocean.
Right.
So Whiskey 3 Atlantic Ocean with W3LPL, that was a great experience. While I couldn't qualify them as fans of my particular brand, it wasn't like what you'd see in the automobile world where it's Ford versus Chevy versus who wants Dodge. But it was just open arms because we all had a call sign and the goal was to go after the QSO record. So, I mean, it was a great experience.
And how did that goal turn out? Did you guys set a record that year?
I think we did set a record. I haven't seen any official plaques or awards, but total QSO record that stood for, I think, 32 years. We were running low power, where the record was set by guys running 1.5 kW. So I think that was pretty impressive, and it was our radios that were on the bands that got a lot of cues. So.
Well, that's cool, and I've heard that it's a very well organized effort between several clubs.
Talk about a finely tuned machine. I was impressed with a large Field Day event from N9JA many years ago. I think we were at 34 Alpha. Guys were putting up towers and stacked Yagis on 40 meters. I mean, I was overwhelmed on that one, but Whiskey 3 Atlantic Ocean was very well done. I mean, the first thing that comes in, X's painted on the ground. This is where everything goes. This is where this tower, this one, boom, boom, boom. And luckily I had experience with one of the crank-up towers that they used, a 577 Alpha Bravo, and instead of just sitting back watching everybody do the work, I got out there and ran the crew to put the antennas on top of them and crank them up, so that was fun.
That's good. So you were all in. And speaking of all in, where do you see the amateur radio hobby going? Where are we going?
I hear people with the doom and gloom that it's going to be gone in 5 years, 10 years, all the rules, regulations, everybody wanting our bands. The thing is, it's a passionate core of hobbyists that are usually in all walks of life. Some of them are in government, some of them are in tech companies. It's the only thing that I see that bridges all those various areas, whether you've got money or you don't, stack the Aggies like you do, rotatable towers, or the guy that has 100 watts in a wire. I mean, everybody gets along, and I don't think humans will ever get where they don't want to talk or experiment or expand technology, and this is a perfect hobby to do all of that. So I see it being around. I keep telling myself that every day when I wake up. I've got a 16-year-old in high school, so calculations are I need to work another 20 years, so let's keep it going.
Well, one thing we know that you have been a part of this hobby, a big part. You've given back. You've done a lot of great things. You've been very active, and certainly the face of several companies, and we're very appreciative of all of your efforts, and we're glad that you're here today. And we want to take a minute to thank not only Icom, but Ray Novak for his contribution to Contest University and his work here at DX Engineering. So 73 for now from K3LR.